Welcome to the TickTalk podcast. The clock is always ticking, so let's synchronize our watches and dive in. I'm your host, Callie Brigham, and I'm here to help you make time for what matters. Okay, here we are, my very first TickTalk podcast with you. I'm feeling kind of brave. I'm feeling kind of like I might throw up. And I think that's pretty normal. This is the first time I have done something this new in a really long time. So if you want to just give me a little round of applause, if you want to say, "You've got this, girl," if you want to pat me on the back, I think I'll pat myself on the back. If you want to decide that you're going to be brave and you're going to try something new too, all of those things are allowed today, launching the very first podcast for TickTalk. So I think what I'm going to do is share with you a little bit about just how this journey began. I am going to actually read you just a few thoughts that I have written down, which I won't normally do, by the way. On my podcast, my intention is just to talk to you like we are having a cup of coffee, having a glass of wine. So it's not really going to be scripted, but I didn't want to miss a few points that I wanted to share with you today. So we'll just sort of sandwich a little bit of that around some realness, because the reality is it's probably just my friends and family. Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad, who are listening. And I mean, who knows? Maybe this is something I'll pass on to my grandchildren so they could hear what Grandma Callie had to say, or my great grandkids. In addition to that, though, it is fun for me to imagine who you are and where you're listening or watching. We are on YouTube too. So that is fun for me to just imagine what that feels like and looks like as we are holding hands and jumping in, taking like a deep dive from the high dive into this pool of time management, and also for me, this pool of newness and a little bit of uncertainty. So welcome to TickTalk. This is the podcast where time meets priorities, and we're going to master them together. I am Callie, your time mastery enthusiast, coach, and possibly your companion on this exciting new adventure. So in today's episode, I do want to share a little bit about my journey. I am a wife to my college sweetheart, Josh. And as you'll come to know, we are complete opposites, but that's usually why it works. Anybody else out there relate? I am the mom of two amazing kids who have already told me they are willing to be featured guests on our show. So you'll meet my oldest, Braden, who is a freshman. Oh, gag. For me, he's loving it, but he's a freshman in high school, and Maddie, who is my Spitfire 7th grader. They hear me spout off so many of the time tricks that I'm going to share with you. They could probably host the show themselves. And most of you that know Maddie would not be surprised if she just pushes me out of this chair and takes over. You could also call me a go-getter, and I'm a firm believer that every woman, especially working moms, can conquer their time without sacrificing what matters most. I do have a background in sales and media and a passion for helping others excel. And so I have embarked on this podcasting adventure. Like, why, right? Why? To empower you, and also just to see if there's an audience out there for what we want to talk about. My Aunt Janice told me the other day that I am in my I put quotes around that, and era. I still have my place and my position with my current occupation, leading a sales team, which I know you'll hear much more about. And I've been wanting to take these 2 decades of experience and share my love of creating harmony with your time and priorities. I know that women are overwhelmed. I know they feel guilty. I know we are exhausted and stressed out. I see it and I hear it every single day. And friends, I just want to help. This, however, is not. So let me tell you what it's not going to be. It's not a podcast about finding the perfect planner. Although I'm open to that. Are you team digital? Are you team paper and pen? It is not a podcast about making you get up 2 hours earlier or stay up way past your bedtime to get things done. Although that's not a bad thing to consider reframing your schedule. I'm sure we'll talk about that. It's not, most definitely not a podcast about perfection. It's also not a podcast about avoiding all procrastination. Yeah, I said it, the B word. Did you know there's actually such a thing as good procrastination? So we'll have to address that on future episodes. What it is just me, a real world wife, mom, business owner who wants nothing more than for you to have two things, just two things. You ready? It all. That's not asking too much, right? And of course, we will unpack what that really means. So, here at TickTalk, we embrace the power of healthy balance. We believe you can achieve your goals without missing out on life's precious moments. It'll be about sharing practical tips, real life stories, and a sprinkle of humor, hopefully, to keep things light and engaging. And in the upcoming episodes, we'll dive deep, like deep into time mastery strategies, practical hacks, inspiring interviews with incredible women who have found their own rhythm. So, whether you're juggling, and we'll talk more about juggling as well, not the actual juggling. I'm horrible at that. But juggling a career, family, or both, I've got your back. And I'm watching the clock too. So stay tuned for interviews with successful working moms, some time saving productivity hacks, and a glimpse into the lives of inspiring women who've cracked the code to balancing and having it all. And so, on that note, I just want to emphasize, so not looking at my notes, I want to emphasize that my goal is to understand, it is to relate. I am in the trenches with you, and it ain't easy. It ain't easy. It's hard. It's hard. A lot of days are hard. A lot of days are tough. There is struggle. There is stress. There is overwhelm, right? And so what background do I have to be an expert in this? Well, I will be the first one to say I am no expert. I do not have a degree in time management, if there is such a thing, although I feel like I might have a PhD over my time. But I think that there are a couple of things that give me a little bit of credibility. Now, the first is that, as I mentioned, I do lead a sales force. I lead a sales force of over 400 women. Yeah, that's a lot of women. That's a lot of women that have commonalities. That's a lot of women who want a lot for their family, but sometimes feel like they are at capacity. They have no more time or energy to give. So, in talking to them and in working with them, I've learned that there are some ways. Did you know you actually can make more time? Yeah, I know. You think we just have 24 hours, but we can make more time. You can make more time. You can make more space. You can eliminate guilt. You can eliminate overwhelm. Not perfectly, but in a way that serves you and in a way that serves your family. So I would say my 2 decades of real world women definitely gives a little bit of credibility to that. Also, I mentioned just briefly in my background that I have a background in media. So I was a television news producer for the NBC affiliate in Memphis. And talk about time management and time mastery. My show was the 5 o'clock news. And you better believe I had to be done with the 5 o'clock news at 5:29 and maybe a few seconds because national news was coming up next. So I learned how to weave a very, very tight schedule with a lot of intention, a lot of priority into about 29 minutes every single day. I spent my whole day crafting 29 minutes. So we're going to talk about how to maximize the time that you do have. And of course, on the home front, I feel like I have had that real world experience as well with raising infants, babies, toddlers, having my own business the whole time, having a husband that not only had his own business, but changed career fields. There's so much to talk about there. So we'll tap into the home front too. I did mention earlier that I'm also on YouTube. And I just want to say for all of you watching, I am not going to look this cute every time. So don't get used to it. You know, you got to show up for the first one. But just know there's going to be a lot of ball caps and maybe makeup, maybe not. And that's all good. So don't hold me to looking this cute. I want to finally shout out to my launch team. And it's not too late to be on my launch team. I will put the link in my show notes here. But I just want to thank you all that have said, hey, I think you could do this. I think you should do this. I think there is still a place in this world for another voice, and it should be yours. So, supportive friends and family out there who said, go for it. I'm going to be one of your balcony people. We know there's balcony and basement people. I just want to say thank you. I don't want to let you down. I will give it my all. I look forward to lots of future conversations and connections and collaborations that we have. So much more to come. And just because I keep it real, I just want you to know, if you're watching on YouTube, that I have this mic. I'm using it for the first time. I hope it's okay. And right before I pressed record on everything, it said 6 inches that you needed to be from the mic. So you could see I pulled out my kid's orange ruler. I don't even know what 6 inches is, right? So I measured it out. So hopefully I did a good job with that. All right. Episode 1 in the books. Let's just buckle up, beautiful friends, because TickTalk is here. It is here, and it's here to revolutionize your approach to time management. So just a reminder, subscribe so you never miss an episode. And remember, your time is precious, and I am here to help you make the most of it. Okay, we did it, guys. First episode. Oh, I can breathe. Cannot wait for next time. Thank you for joining me on the TickTalk podcast. Please subscribe, rate, and leave a 5-star review. Your feedback fuels our mission to help you master your time. Set your alarm for our next episode, and until then, make every moment count.